From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
And so it is, and so it is. Welcome everybody to my Wednesday edition on the Vayada's Tiny House Village. I have a great guest today. We're going to go into some really deep and high and wide conversation tonight because it's so needed. I can't believe where we are today. When I read a quote this morning in my meditations on the mat by Ralph Gates, he quoted something from Martin Luther King back in the 1950s through the 60s. Martin Luther King quoted these words throughout his speeches from 1958 through the 1960s. And his words were, "Our aim must never be to defeat or humiliate the white man, but to win his friendship and understanding." Now that's Martin Luther King. And I Googled it, or not Googled it, I actually chat GPT sort of thing, and asked, when was this written? And it started back in 1958. That far back, almost 70 years ago, Martin Luther King was talking about the nonviolence in his book and seeking to win an opponent to friendship rather than to humiliate or defeat him. And that's where the core idea of that quote came from. So tonight, Caroline and I are going to break down the lack of growth that we have seen for the last 70 years. It's hard to believe that we went backwards almost in the racial tension and the ability to see clearly. In fact, a quote, what happened today on the 175th day of the year. This is the 175th day of the year, which is a 4. And actually June 24th, 26 is a 4 as well. But in this meditation that I read, it was all about a yoga asana and the poses. And what he talks about is we explore our relationships with our bodies. We see the imprint of all other relationships. When we are doing yoga and meditation, we are exploring the relationship of mind and body, and we are exploring also the relationship with other people. So we see the imprint from what we're doing in yoga as a key connection to the relationships with other people. And that's really what it's all about tonight, healing of the racial divide, as I call it. And Caroline will go into her extensive background and writing skills and whole skills about oneness, awake to oneness. We're going to take a spiritual journey tonight. And for those of you who are new to this Wednesday show, I always offer my book, Vegetable Soup for Women. This is a book that was written last year by 9 strangers actually. And if you send a donation in for any amount to my Cash App, you get this book. Any amount. It's 9 stories of amazing people. They're amazing stories, and it will inspire you. And I offer it every week on Wednesday, a collection of stories to nourish your body, your mind, and finances. But tonight, we really do want to welcome you to the village. And here's a little video I created to introduce you to my village.
The cook could put it in her. The cook could put in her. And how could what's in this order? Could the cook request in her? The cook could put it in her. The cook could put.
Now, actually, one of those houses I lived in for 5 years, that's my 120 square foot house on wheels for 5 years. It was the beginning of peace. After a 40-year marriage and divorce, I found peace in 160 square feet of tiny house living. So today, let us jump into a very important conversation about racial divide in our country. And I'm going to bring in my guest right now, Caroline Chang. Thank you so much, Caroline. She has a busy schedule and she's all lit up. So we know that this woman is full of love and light just by her picture here. And she's in a very cool place, a hot place, really. Whoa, all that light.
It's actually today, it's been cool. I mean, not cold. It's in the 70s. It's like 71. It's actually perfect temperature. It's just that my office gets a lot of sunlight at this time of day because the sun is setting right there, and my house is full of windows, and it gets a ton of light. And when I found my house, I knew this is my house, and that was 34 years ago. I've lived here for 34 years, but it gets a ton of light, and I'm not normally recording as my own show or as a guest on a show at this time of the day, this time of the year, because every time of the year the sun sets at a different time. But the sun is setting right now. I have nothing but a big picture window, and it's no shade or anything, so there's no way to block the sun.
Well, it looks perfect. I think it's a perfect picture for us to realize the sun is always rising and setting. And no matter where you are, take advantage of it. Because here in Florida, it's 90 in the 90s, 95, I think today. It was just sweltering heat. It's like, I know
I cannot live in Florida. I know it can. First of all, it's too flat. I live in the mountains, and I love it here. I love being in the mountains. And I love it because it doesn't get too hot here. So I do love it here. Yeah, up in the northeast.
Are you in Maine?
In the Poconos. I live in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania is the state. Yeah, most people have heard of the Poconos. Most people do not know where it is. So a lot of people think the Poconos are in upstate New York. No. It's in the heart of the northeast Pennsylvania, and I live right in the center of the Pocono Mountains.
Now, were you born and raised there?
No, 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 no. I came here when I was 29 years old, when I found my dream home and bought it. My kids were very young. My son was 6, my daughter was 10 at the time. I was a young divorcee. I had gotten married very young and got divorced within 8 years, and I raised my children on my own. My ex-husband had, once we were divorced, actually once we were separated, he had nothing to do with me or the children, which was fine. They had me.
So listen, let's look into your childhood, my childhood, and what has influenced us to have this very spiritual perspective on life and not being a victim and
Mhm.
moving into oneness, as we both are very, I think, synchronized in that respect. Oneness. It's all about oneness. I mean, I have relatives who are both Irish and Native American on one side, and on the other side, my dad, who was born in New Orleans, very dark skinned, and he probably has more African heritage. But growing up in Hyde Park in Chicago, I grew up in a very mixed race neighborhood, University of Chicago. Most of my friends were from mixed marriages. They either had one parent who was white and other black. So it was like that was the way I grew up. But
Right.
today it seems there's a lot of misunderstanding, hatred still going on, even though we have a large number of black men and women, interracial marriages. We
Right. We
still
do.
are looking at each other based on skin color instead of character, as Martin Luther King always talked about, the content of character. So, Caroline, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your childhood that shaped you into this very mature teacher.
Okay. Well, I have Cherokee Indian, Irish, and African American
Yeah,
as my
same.
ancestry. My mother was so fair skinned. My mother was born, she's not white, but she was born with blue eyes and blonde hair from her grandfather, who was 100% Irish. And my mother always, I mean, I would get teased in kindergarten. Kids would say, "You're adopted." And I'm like, "Well, I know I'm not." "Yeah, your mom's white." I'm like, "No, she's not white. She's just light skinned." My mom was as light as a black person can be, and most people thought she was white. And then she married my father, who was a dark skinned man, who and they got married in the late 50s. So it looked like they looked like an interracial couple when they weren't, because my mother would always say, "I'm not white." I just look it, but I'm not white. But yeah, so and as a child, it used to, I mean, from a very young age, I used to notice how, like I said, kids would tease me and tell me I'm adopted when I know I'm not adopted because of my mother's skin color. And I always said, as to myself as a child, what is this thing about skin color? It doesn't matter. I knew that as a very young child. That was just, see, we all have inner guidance. We all have, if you want to call it higher self, Holy Spirit, whatever name you have for that inner voice. We all have that. Many people don't listen to it, but I have always listened to my inner voice from the time I was very, very young. And when I was very, very young, my inner voice would say to me, "What is this whole thing about skin color? It doesn't matter a person's skin color." You know? So
Now,
that
your father was Cherokee.
no, no, no. The Cherokee is on my mother's side.
Oh,
Cherokee and Irish and African American is all on my mother's side. My father was from the South. My mother was born and raised in New Jersey. And my father was from the South. And I'm sure there's some mixture in his bloodline as well. But my mother I know that on my mother's side, I have Irish. Like I said, her grandfather was 100% Irish. I have Irish, Cherokee Indian, and African American on my mother's side.
Absolutely. Same with me. Those Irish were really mixing things up back there. I'm telling you.
Yes. Oh, maybe if I go a little closer, I'm just trying to get out of the sun, but it's okay. It's all right. But
I mean, my mother's family were very fair skinned, like you. My mother could have passed for white because her hair was always straightened and very fair, and her family was mostly Native American or Cherokee or and who knows, and Irish everywhere. So
right.
freckles galore.
Yes.
And then my dad had everyone on my dad's side was dark chocolate. It's like
okay,
and they married in the late 40s, 1949, in fact.
Okay, my parents married in 59.
Okay, 10 years later. Very interesting how our relationships came together.
Right.
With our mother and father, our grandparents, great-great-grandparents. So when we go back, the further we go back, the more mixed we are. It's
exactly.
And if we talk about past lives, even,
yes,
we are looking at who knows what body we were in, these souls were in, right?
I believe every soul has been every single color, we're not just talking about Earth. There's hundreds and billions of other planets. We've had lifetimes on other planets. We've been green, we've been blue, we've been, you name it. We've been everything. And I believe each soul has experienced all of that. Each one of us. Yes.
So I had a reading done. The first time I had a reading done by a woman who was channeling. I mean, I saw this woman come and she had this beautiful purple dress on. And I was at a health fair. And I said, "Whoa, you are beautiful." I said, "Who are you?" She said, "Oh, I'm a channeler, older woman." So she sat down with me and she said, "Well, you've always been a woman in a past life. You always had a female body." And she said, "You were a slave owner in your past life." And I was like, and I just go, my first time hearing this. And then she said, "And you have this huge angel behind you. He's always with you. His name is Emmanuel." I'm like, okay. And I never thought much about it, but it stayed with me that I was more than this one-dimensional being here. Yes. And she reminded me of that. So that was just that was about maybe 20, 25 years ago.
Right.
And so why today are we still stuck on this victimitis, especially in the Black community? I think it has a lot to do with religion. So what was your religious background?
Well, my my grandfather was an ordained Baptist minister, but he didn't have a church. He was just an ordained Baptist minister. So my mom was raised Baptist, but my mom, early in her marriage, before I think me and my brother were born, around the time me and my brother were born, my mom converted to Episcopalian, which is very close to Catholicism, Catholics. And my parents sent us both to Catholic school. Me and my brother went to Catholic school. So we had religion in class every day, starting from, I was in Catholic school from the kindergarten through 5th grade. And so we had, religion in class every day. And my inner being, again, would tell me, in religion class, I'll never forget, I'm like 5 years old, and my inner being is telling me, what that priest is teaching you is not correct. And I knew it, but I couldn't say, "Oh, Mr. Priest, my inner being is telling me what you're teaching me is not correct." I made up my mind as a very young child. Adults don't know what the heck they're talking about. And I will have to find the truth when I grow up. I made that up I made that because my inner guidance was telling me something very different than what adults were telling me. And I've always listened to inner guidance. But as a young child, it made me different. And I'll never forget, my father said, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" And I didn't say it, but I'm thinking it. When he says this to me at 5 years old, I'm thinking, because I'm not him. I didn't say it because you cannot say that to your parents. And the other thing my father would say, children are to be seen and not heard. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so no, there was no that. Yeah, but as soon as he says that to me, why aren't you more like your brother? I'm thinking to myself, because I'm not my brother, which is the perfect answer because I'm unique. But as a child, because I was so unique, because I listened to inner guidance and followed inner guidance my entire life. As a child, I'd cry myself to sleep. Why am I so different? And I used to say, I know they say God don't make mistakes, but He made a mistake. I don't belong here. I did. I was like, no, He put me on the wrong planet. No, this is not where I belong.
Well, of course,
But now I
your
understand
father
all
wanted
as
to.
an adult. Now I understand all of that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon. Are
Yes. Oh,
you?
of course.
Are
Yeah.
you
Oh,
are you
yes.
familiar with Dolores Cannon?
Oh, yes.
Can you? Yes. Okay. Well, Dolores talked about 3 waves of volunteers. Okay. I know that I'm in that second wave. Okay. The first wave started being born. The first wave of volunteer souls started being born in the late 40s to late 50s. Then the second wave started being born in the early 60s. I was born in 1962. I know I'm one of those souls that volunteered
I'm checking my connection because you're breaking up. You're breaking up a lot.
to come to Earth and to
I don't
help
know if she can hear me. Okay,
connection.
Caroline, you're
Can you
freezing.
hear me?
You're
Uh-oh.
frozen right
I
now.
think something's gone on. Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Oh,
I'm
okay. I'm frozen. Okay. All right. What was the last thing did you hear?
you're saying you're in the second wave,
Yes.
Dolores.
Dolores Cannon. So if any of your listeners they're not familiar with Dolores Cannon, they need to check Dolores Cannon's work. It's
Yeah,
amazing. But
yeah.
she is talking about this time that we're living in now. Humanity's great awakening. Now you said you've been saying a lot during this program how it seems the racial divide seems to be getting wider. But that's deliberate. That's deliberate from those so-called powers that be.
Or
They
shouldn't.
want or shouldn't be. Yeah, exactly. The powers that should not be. They want us fighting each other either by race, by religion, by nationality, by country. You see what they're doing. It's just they want us fighting each other. That is they have designed it that way because humanity would not be this divided if it wasn't for the powers that be that try to keep us divided the best in any way they can. They try to do it deliberate. It's totally deliberate
So
because go ahead.
when we have these violent conditions in the streets, for instance, this Carmelo Anthony situation, it's almost like it's a psyop, a psychological operation. They take an event that
Yes.
would not even be that conflicting, and they blow it out of proportion so that it can create more racial division. This case in Texas is just for a whole year now. This took place a year ago, and now a year later, after the trial took place, they found him guilty. 35 years, and now racism is everywhere again. It's like
Mhm.
every chance the media. I'll say the media instead of they. Let's say the media, because
Right.
they're the
Well,
powers.
they control the media. But go ahead.
Right. So
Mhm.
every chance the media gets, and they use the media. Let's just say they're using the media to create the division so
Yes.
that we can be fighting and distracted from the oneness.
Yes.
Because what if the media were not creating this conflict and this heightened tension? What would happen to in this situation
Right.
where one person of one color kills another person of a different color? What do you think we could hope for or look at happening if there wasn't the media's involvement?
Right. Well, exactly what you're saying. Again, inner guidance told me right after 9/11. So we're talking September 2001. So we're talking over 25 years ago. Okay. I have not watched a second of mainstream news, not a second. I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest. And that's not me not knowing what's going, those kind of things, those psyops, because that's exactly what they are. Me not knowing about those psyops is a good thing, not a bad thing, because I'm not feeding into that energy, that psyop energy of division, because I'm always focused on the oneness. I know people always say to me, if you don't watch news, how do you know what's going on in the world? I know what's going on in the world because I don't watch the news. 99% of that media is lies and psyops. And I don't need to fill my head and my thoughts and my spirit with fake news. And that's all it is. So, but we have the internet. First of all, we have the internet, and anything I want to learn, like if I hear something and I'm like, ooh, let me look into that, I'll investigate it myself. But I so know what's going on. I know what's going on in the world, but everything is happening in perfect divine timing. We are living in such an amazing time. My higher self told me, and this was in March of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, scamdemic, shamdemic, right at the beginning, my higher self was saying, humanity's great awakening has begun. And right now we are in the midst of that great awakening. I know it's 6 years later. I'm thinking, I was like, darn, I thought it was going to happen quicker than this. But 6 years, and in spirit, 6 years is in the blink of the eye. It's not, but we are in the middle.
Yeah.
We are past the hard part of the awakening. Now we are ripe for the full awakening, and it's going to happen very quickly. This year, there's going to be a lot of things change, even though this year is already half over, almost just about half over.
Right.
Very quickly. Before the end of this year, there's going to be so many changes happening. And I'm not like a fortune teller to say, okay, this is, I can't predict what's going to happen, but I know what's happening is good. But the main thing your listeners, I want to impress upon your listeners is our attitude, our focus. Like if we're focused on that psyop news 24/7, we're going to stay, because each one of us is creating our future reality. So our vibration creates where we go next, meaning we can stay on 3D matrix Earth. We can stay there if that's our choice, and there's no judgment in that choice. Or we can rise to a higher level, which is 5D New Earth. 5D New Earth is heaven on earth. And so what brings it, the only thing that differs to bring us either to one dimension or the other, stay with the old earth or move on to the new earth, is our vibration, our internal vibration, what we focus on. Are we living from a place of love, unconditional love? That's what oneness is all about. I love you regardless of your skin color, regardless of your religion, regardless of your economic status, regardless. I love you. I just had this conversation the other day with a neighbor. There was a lady I met. She was Jehovah's Witness, and she, you know how they come knocking on your door, and I always invite them in, offer them tea, and I sit and I listen to them, and then after I listen to them, I share my truth with them, which is my truth of oneness. Okay. Now there was this one lady that came several times. They always come in pairs, and every time she came with a different lady. But I really liked her. She was a former model. She was actually my age, maybe a year older, but she beautiful, tall, just beautiful Black woman. And she was a former model and all that. And I really liked her, and I really wanted to be her friend. But because I wasn't interested in becoming a Jehovah's Witness, she didn't want to be friends with me. Are you kidding me? I have friends that are Muslim. I have friends that are Hindu. I have friends that are Jewish. I have friends of all different religions. I respect everybody's religion. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And I think there's a big difference between being spiritual and religious, but because I believe all religions are man-made. But I still respect if that's what floats your boat, hey, But and I really did, it just disappointed me because I wanted to be this lady's friend. And since she couldn't convince me to become Jehovah's Witness, she didn't want to be my friend. So that's what but it's all, the oneness is about loving everybody. And if your primary focus and how you live from moment to moment is from a place of love and kindness and understanding, because that's a big thing about, religions having understanding for each other. You don't have to agree. You can have disagree. You can decide, I don't agree with that, but I still love you. Okay? At the end of the day, we are one family, and you believe this and I believe that, and we're one family. And I say all arguments and all debates come from one place. You're trying to force somebody to to force somebody to believe what you believe. That's what an argument is about. If you just allow them to share their truth, they allow you to share your truth, and at the end of the day, you can like, okay, well, we don't agree, but I love you. That's how oneness works. It's unity within diversity, because we're not supposed to be the same. We're supposed to be different colors. We're supposed to be different religions. We're supposed to be different, but we're supposed to love each other in our differences. And that you'll never get from the news.
So the response we have in conflicts should remind us that what you just said, that we are one in spirit. Okay, first of all. But I had a situation on a Zoom call that I want you to comment on, where a brother was talking about an incident he experienced with a police officer and a dog, and the police officer was referred to as a racist white pig. And he kept mentioning race in the conversation, the description of the event.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And he just, it was somewhat traumatic for him because he said this racist white police. I kept hearing mention of race in the situation. And I was just growing so impatient with his description, using race as the descriptive. Right. And so I, in my impatience, I said to him, well, I'm surprised that you aren't in gratitude more, that you survived that really challenging event. That the way you described it, there was a lot of tension. So we get into these situations where there's a lot of tension. And my response is that you're going to attract whatever you're feeling, whatever energy you're putting out. You're going to attract the same anger, the same resentment, the same racism. You will look at this white pig, this white, referring to each other as color of skin, to me, is the problem first.
Right.
And so I'm saying to him, I was like, okay, but I'm surprised that you're not just in gratitude that, I don't know, it seemed like that happened quite a while ago.
Right.
You should be sharing your grace story that you survived this incident. Well, that I got lambasted and I said, I'm not being empathic. And after a while, I'm like, yeah, you're right, because I trigger people when they come with me with this, race that, all white, black, this. And I have no tolerance for victimitis, I call it, or victimhood. So I apologize to anyone who thinks they're being offended, because I just don't have tolerance for you continuing to describe your victim situation.
It's a victim mentality. And if you live in a victim mentality, that's the world you're going to create. You're going to create those incidences, because that's where your mindset is, and that's where it's all, we are creator beings. And we create with our energy. We create with what we put out. And like you said, There's times I just know how to, no matter how another person's behaving, I can rise above that. I don't have to go to their level. And that's what a lot of people do. If someone does something mean to you, the first thing you want to do is something mean to them. But no, you have to just say, you have to take a step back, take a breath, and like, you got to say, I got to rise above that. I'm not going to let this person who's acting at a lower level bring me down to their level. I'm going to stay up here. I'm going to shine love and light. I don't have to say it. I'm going to shine my love and light on them. And then it's miraculous how situations change like that. When someone is being aggressive and you're not returning that aggression, they change. Because they're not getting that energy that they're putting out. So they stop. Yeah.
So what happened in the Christian church, the Catholic church, that we didn't get that message that you have to rise above? I mean, it's like the majority of Black folks, especially, are from Christian churches.
Right.
And we spent most of our childhood. I actually, my grandfather was also a pastor of a church of Christ, and he built his own church in a little town in Southern Illinois. And so I grew up in the church from an infant. I was swimming in Jesus Christ for years and years. And because my grandfather was a very loving, beautiful man. And yet, why some of us grow out of that because we are destined to spiritually, divinely. Our assignment is not to stay in religion.
Exactly.
So with you and I moving from that education of religion, and you need a savior, and you have to, be in a church building to really understand what the Bible and all that education was great education.
Right.
But now when I see people who are still in that education, so the Sunday school and the Bible, and you're not living the Bible, but you are calling on race, this person as a white person, this is a Black, and victim. What happened to the teaching of Christ?
The teaching of Christ was unconditional love. That was the teaching of Christ. The teaching of Christ was love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself, and everyone is your neighbor. So you're supposed to love everyone as yourself. That was the core teaching of Christ. And his name, I always call him by his real name, which is Yeshua. And Yeshua was not Christian. I love to tell that to Christians. Yeshua was not a Christian. Yeshua was a Hassim, which was a mystic sect of the Jewish tradition, but it was a mystic sect where Yeshua studied at a very young age, meditation, yoga, all these things, all these spiritual traditions. That is what he practiced as a young child growing up. And and the thing this just came to me recently, and I said this to a very Christian friend of mine, and she didn't want to hear it. Did people realize, and we can all agree, it was the Romans that killed Jesus, right? We can all agree. That's something most people would not disagree with. But do you realize it was the Roman Catholic Church that is the core of Christianity? The same people that killed Jesus took his teaching and twisted it deliberately. That because Christianity comes from the Roman Catholic Church. It was the Romans that killed Jesus. Okay, Jesus taught exactly what I teach: oneness, unconditional love, that we are all one with each other. When Jesus said, I and my Father are one, he didn't just say him. He wasn't just talking about he's one with the Father. He was saying we are all one with the Father. Okay, so those teachings, the teachings of oneness, the teachings, Jesus' teaching of who we truly are as sovereign divine beings of light, one with each other and one with God, all that is, my terminology is all that is, universe. whatever name you have for all that is. We are one with all that is, and we're one with each other. There's no separation. That has been proven. That's ancient wisdom. That is spirituality. And it's also been proven scientifically with quantum physics over 120 years ago. So this is something we should know. As humanity, we should know by now that there is no separation. All there is us. There's one. And that is exactly, I know that I teach exactly what Yeshua taught. And I know that the Romans, and I didn't put that piece together about the Romans. Wait a second. Roman Catholic Church. Okay. There's all these different Protestants and different denominations, but they all stem from the Roman Catholic Church. You know, whereas the core of Christianity stems from the Roman Catholic Church. Who killed Jesus? The Romans. Duh! Did you not get that? The Romans took Jesus's teachings and twisted it to make people think, oh, we need a savior. No, Jesus never said worship him. Jesus never said he was a savior. Jesus said he is our brother. He's our brother. Yes.
So one of the things that Christians don't want to talk about is the missing years of Christ that are not in the Bible. Yeshua, the Bible stops when he was 12 years old, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then you ask a Christian, well, what happened between 12 and 30? Oh, well, they said he grew in wisdom and stature. I know, but where was he? We have enough information now from the internet that tells us he went to Egypt, he went to Tibet. And what did he do? He studied with the Buddhist monks. He studied, he meditated. He studied and learned about other cultures, other religions, other beliefs, other lifestyles. And then when it went back, now I would say not only did the Romans have input in his death, but the Jewish religious people as well. Because what did he do? He turned over the tables. When he came back from meditation in Tibet and Egypt, he came in and said, turn over the tables and said, what are you doing? This is not what you should be teaching. So in a Christian family, the lesson should now be, what did he do between the ages of 12 and 30, those missing years?
Those missing years, yes.
Can become more unified and in oneness, understanding that even Christ was not stuck in one religion.
Right.
Because that was not his assignment. His assignment was to teach unity and oneness. So we've got Mama AZ has called in. I'm going to see. Mama AZ, did you have a question or a comment for Caroline? Your mic is open. Are you on mute? Okay. I don't know if she's still there.
Okay.
So I want us to help all those people out there who are struggling with being a victim, and looking at everything that happens to them as related to because they're Black. Where are we getting this from? Where is this coming from?
Like I said, a lot of it is, I have relatives that are stuck in that mentality, and it is a victim mentality. I mean, I grew up, I went to an all-white school, and that was in the 70s, all through the 70s. So, and I never ever felt like anybody was being prejudiced towards me, never. So, it's a mentality, and because of my mentality was, oh, I'm just like them. They got lighter skin, so what? And I've always known skin color doesn't mean anything. It's just it's how a person is treating you, And so that victim mentality comes from them not knowing who they are. Because when they know who they are, when they know that they are a part, like God, what Jesus taught us, we are all one with God. We're not separate, and we're all one with each other. And when we know we are one with God, then we act like it. We like, okay, I know I'm one with God, and I'm co-creating this life experience with God, because God wants to experience everything through us. And so I'm co-creating this experience. And when I know that, I don't live from that victim mentality. I know that the color of my skin, really doesn't mean anything, because this is just a suit that I picked for this life experience. But I've had many other suits, like you said. A channeler told you in one lifetime you were a slave owner. I know someone who had a near-death experience, and she saw two of her lifetimes. In one lifetime she was a slave, and in the next lifetime she was the slave owner beating that slave. So she was both. She was the slave and the slave owner. So that is the true teachings, that you have been both. You have been poor, you have been rich, you have been black, you have been white, you have been Chinese, you have been Asian, you have been all of that. And so when you wake up to the truth that I'm not a victim, I'm a creator, and I'm creating this life experience, you start living each moment from that truth that you're not a victim, and then things change. Like instantly, when you get rid of that victim mentality, you're not a victim anymore. Because that's all victimness is a victim mentality. It's your thinking.
So when you have a prison system, for instance, that has successfully incarcerated many dark-skinned men and women, mm-hmm. When you have people who believe it's all because of race, mm-hmm. what do you tell them about the system that works very well when you don't have spirituality and a consciousness of who you are, like you just said, who you don't know who you are. So a lot of the lessons I believe men and women have to learn in jail or in prison is because you were lacking self-awareness.
Exactly. Everything we go through in life is to help us to awaken to who we truly are. So we're always being guided. There is not, both my children are in spirit. And I know that was a soul plan before my birth. I know that they said they had picked me to be their mom, because we pick our parents in spirit. They had picked me to be their mom, and they said, but Mom, we're not going to hang out on that place long as you. You have a mission to do. You're going to be there longer than us. And that was a soul plan. So I could be but my kids are, I could be, I could stay in bed all day and cry that my kids are not here. But I don't choose to be a victim. I choose to live my purpose. I came here for a reason. They're not gone. I don't believe in, I was saying to you before, I don't believe in death. There is no such thing. We are eternal beings of light. And my children are always with me, especially I know my son is here, my daughter's here. My son is always on the left. My daughter's always on the right, especially when I'm doing a recording like this. They're right here with me. They're not gone. I talk to them all the time. And they've told me I have my son's voice on tape. It's on YouTube. Anybody can hear my son from spirit telling me, Ma, you have a mission to do, and you're doing it. So I live from a place. So most people, everybody was like, oh, when they hear that my children has transitioned, they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, sorry for what? You have nothing to be sorry for. So if I can live like that, and my kids are my life, have always been, and they still are. If I can live like that and go through what I've gone through, people, whatever situation they're in, whether they're in prison or in a hospital, whatever situation they're in, they have to own that situation, because that situation happened for a reason, to help them to rise up to another level.
So would it be safe to say that our brothers and sisters who want to consider themselves victims are walking in an immature spiritual journey?
Exactly. They're still asleep. I just say they're
mature. Until they mature, everything is going to be looked at as, oh, poor me, I'm a victim.
Exactly. So, when you stop, you're either a victim or you're a creator. You can't be both. You're either a creator of your life experience, which we all are, or you are a victim of your life experience, and you decide. And there is no judgment, because there's eternal life. So in this life experience, if you feel like going through your whole life playing that victim card, Okay, well, in the next life, maybe you'll change your mind. Because there's eternal life. This is a dream of our own creation. It's not even real. Nothing is real about this except for our experience of it. You know when I learned that? In 7th grade.
Oh, really?
Okay. I'll never forget my 7th grade science teacher saying, we do not live in a solid world. We were studying molecules and atoms. He said, you put anything under a high-powered microscope, what do you see? You see these tiny particles that we call atoms, and they're moving, meaning they have life, but they're not even touching, meaning nothing is truly solid. We do not live in a solid world. We can only, and science has proven this, we can only detect 0.035% of what is actually around us with our physical senses. Okay, this is a dream of our own creation. And I believe the first thing we realize when we leave our body, that was nothing but a dream. All of that whole life experience was nothing but a dream. And it's a dream of our own creation. And when we own our dream, we can do amazing things.
Well, when you think about every night we go to sleep, we go into death mode.
Yes.
Because we're in a whole nother dimension. And then whatever dream we have,
right,
in the same dimension that we'll be in when we leave this body permanently.
Right.
So I think we would agree that even when we go to sleep, we are transitioning temporarily into a new dimension that we will soon be in permanently.
Right.
We leave this body forever.
Right.
Thank
right.
goodness.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, now I don't know why I'm sweating, but I got to wipe some sweat off. But here's the thing. The body needs rest. The soul does not. So when your body is sleeping, your soul is off having fun. It's like, okay, there's this silver cord. Now, once the silver cord is connected, then that's when the body is dead. Okay, but there's a silver cord that connects your soul to your body. And as soon as you go off to sleep, your soul leaves that body and is having a good old time someplace else. Okay, and then when you wake up, okay, I got to go back to that body. Because the soul never rests. It's the body that needs rest. And when that silver cord is cut, that is what we call death. That is when the soul leaves the body for good. Leaves that body for good, which is nothing but a spacesuit. This is nothing but a spacesuit. This is just a suit to get around in this dimension.
So we really need to have elementary level classes on spirituality and what it means to not be a victim. Like you said, I love to compare. You're either a victim or you're a creator. Yes. We need to teach this in elementary school.
Yes.
And that's why public school is almost useless at making kids memorize stuff that they really can't use when they get out of this system.
Right.
And so all of these systems we're talking, whether it's the prison system, the food system, the medical system, the education system, they need to go away. We need to start all over again. And so I think that's what you hinted at in the beginning. We are in this season of chaos right now.
Yes.
Because these systems need to come down and
they're collapsing. They're literally collapsing as we speak. The old systems are collapsing. People are slowly waking up. It's far from 2020 when a lot of people were like stone cold asleep. People are waking up. And I can definitely see it on Facebook. You can see things on Facebook that would never be allowed on Facebook years ago. Okay, people are waking up in droves. They really are. And we are living at an amazing time because those that souls want to go through more 3D experience will stay there. But those that are ready to move on to a higher dimension, and we're going to see this split happening in our lifetime. We're going to see how the old world is collapsing and the new world is rising at the same time. And it's happening right now. So that's why I'm like, it's the best time in the world to be alive.
Yeah, bring it on. I'm like, bring it on. And I'm becoming so unapologetic at this period of my life, because as I used to apologize for triggering people which made them feel bad, and then Spirit was like, don't do that. Yeah, that's your job. It's like,
right. And not only that, when a person is triggered, it's not you, it's something in them that they need to work on. Anytime a person is triggered, it's not the person outside of them. It's something inside of them that they need to work on.
Yes. Mama AC, your mic is open. Did you have a comment or a question before we go?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yeah, can you hear her, Caroline?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you, sister, because you so many things. I had a vision quest in 2020 in Miracle Valley, Arizona. For 14 days, I was allowed to camp out in a tent at the cemetery, at Miracle Valley Cemetery. And everything that you are saying, Dolores Cannon, everybody, if you're not aware of Rev. A. Allen, who created a Bible college there in Miracle Valley, Arizona, please look him up, because I got to all of that back in 2006. Reservation, looking for our school and the cemetery and my Cherokee people.
Right.
That led to dreams to do a vision quest in 2020 there at Miracle Valley. And many people think because Reverend Allen was who he was at that time of his life, and he created this phenomenal ministry, that he doesn't communicate differently being on the other side. That is not so, because the downloads that I've been getting, and I'm not me, Carol, and the Dolores Cannon and anybody, I'm just Mama Bonfire, Robert Harris. They are getting stronger, and everything that you said today has really made me stronger and more assured of myself and my journey. And Sister Carolyn, thank you so much, because this journey is extremely difficult. But I'm mastering it. And ones like you help me to get through these hard times. And I'd like to have a reason with you and Dr. V. My Earth Day is coming up next Wednesday, October 4th, the 1st of July. And today is a 4. If you read the energy, the numbers, is a 4.
Right.
4 is very powerful. So thank you, my sister, for making this journey a little bit easier. God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad I was able to. And you can always stay in touch with me and Viata, and definitely that's what I'm here to do. I just want to help encourage and inspire others. Yes.
Thank us.
Thank you, Mama AZ, because we're all one.
Yes.
She's in Arizona. Yes. I'm in Florida. You're in Philadelphia. You're in Pennsylvania.
I'm 2 hours north of Pennsylvania. I mean, Philadelphia. I am not in Philadelphia. I am 2 hours north of Philadelphia, in the mountains.
Yeah, and so Pennsylvania is such a unique place. My ex, she says he's not my ex. My children's father was born in Pittsburgh, so he's a Steeler fan.
Okay.
And I'm always thinking Pittsburgh when I think Pennsylvania, but it's so nice to have you up in the mountains.
Yes, I'm up in the mountains. Yes, I love it here. Yes.
And I'm ready to go to the mountains myself. This heat is just miserable.
Sure.
And I don't have air conditioning in my car. Well, it doesn't work very well. I'll just say that. So I'm doing my thing, but
yeah, you're doing good. Yeah.
I
can tell you where I live, you don't need AC. My house does not need AC at all. I do have a few fans if it gets a little warm, but I don't need AC at all.
When I went to my first time to I went to a mountain top house. It was so heavenly.
Yeah.
The air was clean. I could taste the air was clean. Oh my goodness. I got to get back to that. The mountain.
Yeah. But I have a mountain home. It's built for the mountains. Yes.
In the winter, I got to go. I can't take the cold.
Well, we get 5 feet of snow up here, so, and our winters are 6 months long. So
yeah. We're happy. This is your summer.
Yeah. But this year, honestly, I've been here 34 years. This has been a very weird year. We didn't really have spring. Right now it's like spring weather, but it was cold most of the spring this year, which is not usually after April 15th is nice and warm up here. But this year it didn't get warm until like the 1st of June, which is unusual. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you love that location.
Yeah.
Again, it just shows, even though we all were born in different places, we have different ancestors, it shows that we are representative of oneness and unity. Yes. And even though Caroline and I have not always agreed on certain topics, but there's something very strong spiritually keeping us together.
Right.
Doing our assignment, completing this assignment that we have to bring others together.
What I say to you, honestly, Beata, I try to explain to people, we don't have to agree to love each other. You know, we could have a 2-3 hour conversation. And at the end of the conversation, we could still disagree. But at that end of that conversation, I'm loving and hugging on you. This is what I try to teach people, because I just had somebody that I admired I still do admire her, and I admire her work. But because there's one thing we disagreed on, she went crazy on me. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is someone I've been admiring for years. And all of a sudden, because we disagree on one little thing, you're going to go off on me. But I was like, I still just send her love. You know, I still just send her love.
And you know, we have to take a pause. That's all. You know, you and I have taken a pause and just and you know what, Caroline, Spirit always speaks to me when there's a conflict in my life as forgiveness, about forgiveness. Yes. Because if I feel like I was offended, I need to forgive myself first.
Right.
Offended, because if I was triggered like I treat other people, it's like, what is it that triggered me?
Exactly.
That I need to forgive myself for reacting instead of responding in love and
exactly. That's what I was saying. When the person is triggered, it's not you. It's something the trigger was in them, that something they need to work on. And like you said, not react, but respond in love and kindness. So even though, like I said, this person has gone off on me, I just responded in love and kindness. I have to remind myself who I am. I'm totally clueless why this one little thing we don't agree on is going to make you turn against me like that. I'm like, I couldn't like, I'm like, but I'm still gonna just be me and respond with love and truth. I'm gonna just say, but yeah, no, but we're not, you know what? We're not supposed to always agree on everything. People don't understand that. We're not supposed to agree. You know, we're unique. You're uniquely you. I'm uniquely me. And we're not supposed to always agree.
And it's ego and pride that interferes with us coming together again and having oneness of mind, that we have a mission, We know who our enemy is. It's not you. It's not me. It's not the people of every country. They're not the enemies, but their governments are the enemies. I'm looking at so many countries that have government. I mean, look at Cuba. Cuba is really struggling right now because of their government has been totally narcissistic, prideful, not really looking out for the people of that country. And then, having the United States interfering, United States citizens seem to think that we are the problem, but when I speak to Cubans, they're like, we've had this problem way too long. We can't blame anybody. They're very humble about this situation. We cannot blame anybody but our government. And I'm just praying.
I would say governments.
Yes.
And in truth, it seems like they're separate governments, but they're truly all controlled by one hand. And they want it to look to us like it's different and they're fighting each other, but it's really it's just a psychological game that they're playing on us, is what it is.
So I just like I read in the beginning, for those of you who were not here in the beginning, I read from my meditations on the mat about having a government awareness of yourself first.
Yes.
Is what will help you have better relationships with other people, other races, other race of peoples. You know, a white policeman shows up and triggers you and he doesn't treat you the way you think you should be treated. What is that saying about your self-awareness of who you are? No matter, I saw something really interesting, Caroline, on the there was a van driving around recruiting people for the Orlando Police Department. And it said on the back, veterans wanted. Veterans. And I thought, oh boy, that's the problem. PTSD. They let them heal their PTSD first.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You're dealing with a police officer who you might trigger back into Vietnam or military, or wherever he was in war.
Right.
I think we all have to be very sensitive to the men and women serving in the police department, because they're recruiting from the military. We are unhealed military veterans. Okay. I'm just saying. So don't be so quick to judge police officers.
You're right.
Who treat you so well. Yeah. Especially if you got an attitude.
Right. It's all about it. And I always say people have to take a breath. And sometimes I have to take 10 breaths. Take a breath, take a step back, and don't react. Respond with love. Respond with love and kindness to the best of your ability. I've
had policemen stop me, and I had one I'll never forget. I was speeding for sure. I was on my way to a very important event. And when I rolled down the window, I said, "Oh, please have mercy on me. Please have mercy on me." That man said, "You remind me of my wife."
Okay.
And he said, "I'm not going to give you a ticket, but please slow down."
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, officer. And I drove away just smiling. I was like so proud of myself.
Right.
That's all I could think. I'm in a hurry. I don't need no ticket. Please have mercy. And the brother said, "You remind me of my wife, so I'm gonna have mercy on you." That's the kind of attitude we all need to have with police officers. They might have PTSD. If you roll down the window and say, "What's your problem?" and have attitude,
it's all in the attitude. It's all in, it's all, So if you just respond with love and kindness, I'm not saying to be anybody's doormat, no, but you just don't respond, you don't react with the same energy that they're bringing towards you.
Absolutely.
You respond with kindness and understanding. Understand, okay, well, maybe they just had a bad day. I don't know. But, it's just.
Hey, they had a bad military career is what I look at.
Yes.
They met you with, trigger. You're triggering them. I say, okay, this is Vietnam in action with something going on other than what we are observing. So. Right. Be careful. So. So
Yeah.
I appreciate so much you sharing with us. I want you to just give a word of wisdom
Sure.
to our brothers and sisters out there who are still being triggered by the racial disharmony. What is it they need to do to heal that division that they still feel
Right.
toward their Caucasian brothers or race or Black brothers and sisters? What is
Mhm.
some of the things they can do to start healing from that reaction that they have?
I think everybody's going to be different, but I think the first thing is to understand that everything that's outside of you is coming from within you. So, meaning, I think people need to take a good look in the mirror and say, okay, what is it I need to heal within me? I think that's the first step, trying to heal within you, because once you heal the inner, the outer is going to change. So I would say, yeah, take a good look in the mirror and ask your reflection, what is it I need to heal within me?
And that's what yoga has taught me. I've been practicing yoga now for probably more than 30 years. And it taught me, that's how I stayed with my husband as long as I did. I wanted to divorce early in this relationship, but we went to counseling. And Spirit said something to me like, you need to just work on you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take classes like yoga, meditation, it really does help what Caroline is saying to work on yourself and
Mm-hmm.
whatever is triggered, keeps getting triggered in you first.
Right.
And then everyone you see, you're going to have more love for that person
Yeah.
because you're going to love yourself more.
Exactly. Love starts from within.
Absolutely.
So the more you love yourself, the more love you have for others. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, my sister, for joining us tonight. And we got work to do. And
Yes.
let's usher in that fourth, fifth dimension. And
Yes. Well, it's actually here. 5D is here. It's a frequency. It's a vibration. I live in it every day. I know 3D is collapsing and 5D is right here. And right now they're like this. But eventually they're going to separate. Right now, 5D is just above 3D, and 3D is collapsing. But as soon as 5D is going to start moving away from, and we won't even be able to see the 3D dimension anymore. So that is, yes.
Hang in there, and talk to Care. How can you be? What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, you can always go to my website, which is awake, 2 onenessradio.org. So that's the word awake. Don't forget the 2 onenessradio.org. So that is how they can connect with me anytime.
And remember, everybody. Hey, listen, these people.
Okay, I'm trying to type awake.
Okay, awake. Just the word awake. The 2 onenessradio.org.
Okay, I think I spelled that right. Is that it?
Let me see. I don't see it.
Wait a minute. I'm not sure.
Okay. Awake to oneness. Did you spell oneness? Oneness? Is that right? I guess I'm yes, radio.
ONES radio. So that's, you want to check out her website.
Mm-hmm.
And let's stay as strong as a family as we can. And no matter what disagreements you may have, just pray about them, meditate about it, and get back to work, because we got work to do. There's too many people out here who are struggling and suffering in their victim mind. And it's really, as Caroline said, it's time to create.
Yes.
Stop looking at everybody as wanting to harm you and being a victim, and just start creating more and more and more each day. That we'll make it through this chaos.
Yes.
Yeah. So we love you, and namaste.
Namaste, sweetie.
Nam.
Yes.
Aho, ashe, and shalom. Mwah. Everybody have a good evening. We'll see you on Friday with Health and Wellbeing with Beata.
Okay, very good.
Shalom.
Anuki madres with mad pushalao. On the bed with mad the cool type of yow. The cooks a hapa a car papa R. Penenza put the cook on sa order. Go who's to get a limit to order a zempa haka kept a cataract. A theater can. Tashiya wish you up a sound come on. The fear would a comedy a count that noon. I kick a geek up moon to whip out the sad. I knew get a horse, look at Papa Garage. I knew I went for good Papa lag. I knew I got but you I could get that. I knew could do the culture destined ain't yet. I knew could do la mother was part of that. I do feed Papa that the gamos and but now that super do I got no horse. The cook could put it in hot, yeah. The cook could put in hot,